Sometimes, the heaviest things we carry are not in our hands, but in our hearts. And sometimes, holding on feels easier than letting go, even when it's hurting us. But what if the peace you're searching for begins only after you release what's breaking you? Today's story is about that moment. The moment someone finally chooses to let go and discovers who they truly are. Rohan was the kind of person everyone saw as strong, always smiling, always helping, always available. If you needed him, he would show up, even if it meant breaking his own plans, his own rest, or his own peace. But deep inside, Rohan felt something he never said out loud. He felt empty. Not the kind of emptiness you feel after a bad day, but the kind that stays. The kind that follows you home. The kind that whispers to you in quiet moments. He didn't know why. His life looked fine from the outside, but his heart felt tired. One evening, after a long day, Rohan sat at his desk. He stared at his phone, waiting for someone to text him back. Someone he cared about deeply. Someone he was always there for, but who rarely showed the same love in return. Hours passed. No message. His heart sank the way it always did. That strange, familiar ache. And then a thought slipped into his mind. Why am I always the one trying? Why does it hurt so much to hold on? He brushed the thought away. Because holding on felt safer than losing someone. Even if that someone was slowly pulling him apart. The truth was simple. Rohan had built his life around people who didn't value him. People he chased. People he hoped would stay. People he never wanted to lose. Even if losing them was the only way he would find himself again. He gave too much. He expected too little. And he stayed quiet about his pain because he believed silence was strength. Every night he told himself, "It's okay. They'll change. They'll understand. They'll care." But deep down, he knew. He was holding on to something that wasn't holding him back. It was holding him down. Still, he couldn't let go. Because letting go felt like failure. Like surrender. Like loneliness. But life has a way of teaching us what we need to learn. Sometimes gently. Sometimes painfully. For Rohan, that lesson came one rainy evening. It was his birthday. He didn't expect a big celebration. Just a simple message from the people he loved. Maybe a call, maybe a small gesture. But the day passed, and no one remembered. Not even the person he had been waiting for. Evening came. The rain began to fall outside, and Rohan sat alone in his room, staring at his silent phone. He forced a smile. "I'm fine," he whispered to himself. But sometimes the heart breaks in silence, not in noise. He felt something inside him crack. A small, quiet realization. He had been waiting for love in places that were never meant to give it. He had been holding on to people who were already halfway out of his life. He had been staying loyal to moments that had long passed. And the emptiness he felt was not from losing others. It was from losing himself. Rohan closed his eyes, and for the first time in a long time, he let himself feel everything. The hurt, the disappointment, the loneliness, the truth. Tears came, not because he was weak, but because he had been strong for too long. At that moment, something shifted inside him. He picked up his phone, opened the chat of the person he was always waiting for. And instead of texting again, instead of trying again, he quietly deleted the conversation. Not out of anger, not out of ego, but out of acceptance. He realized something powerful. You cannot force people to value you. You cannot make someone care. You cannot save relationships by breaking yourself. Letting go wasn't losing. Letting go was choosing peace. He turned off his phone, walked to the window, and watched the rain. For the first time, the silence didn't hurt. It felt a calm. He felt lighter. Not because life became easier, but because he finally stopped dragging people who didn't want to walk with him. In that moment, he whispered, "I choose myself." And those three simple words changed everything. Over the next days, Rohan focused on things he had ignored for years. His hobbies, his dreams, his sleep, his peace. He stopped chasing people. He stopped waiting for messages that never came. He stopped giving energy to things that drained him. Slowly, the emptiness began to fade, not because someone filled it, but because he started filling it himself. He learned to enjoy his own company. He learned to love the quiet. He learned that sometimes the universe removes certain people because they were blocking the happiness meant for us. And one day, while sitting in a cafe, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Contentment. He realized something deeply beautiful. Letting go didn't leave a hole in his life. It created space. Space for better people, better days, better love, better peace. So if you are listening to this and your heart feels heavy, if you feel empty, if you are tired of trying, maybe it's time to let go. Not because you stopped caring, but because you deserve to breathe. You deserve to rest. You deserve people who don't make you question your worth. Letting go is not the end. It's the beginning of becoming who you were always meant to be. Remember this. When you hold on to what hurts, you lose space for what heals. When you chase what's leaving, you block what's arriving. When you let go, you grow. So choose yourself. Choose peace. Choose the life waiting for you on the other side of letting go. Because sometimes, your new life will cost you your old one. Deep, that's okay.